Imagine a time machine, not one that whisks you away to distant eras, but one that brings the past to life before your very eyes. This is the magic of forensic facial reconstruction. Like detectives hot on the trail of a long-forgotten mystery, scientists use the clues hidden within skulls and bones to rebuild the faces of those lost to time. It's a fusion of art and science, where meticulous measurements meet artistic intuition. With each careful stroke, history is brought back into focus, face by forgotten face. Imagine holding a skull in your hands. It's a cold, hard object stripped of all that made it human. But to a trained eye, it's a treasure trove of information. The shape of the skull, the prominence of the brow ridge, even the wear and tear on the teeth, all these whisper secrets of a life lived long ago. Forensic artists and scientists listen closely to these silent stories, piecing together the puzzle of the past. We often think of history as dates in textbooks or artifacts in museums, but history is ultimately about people, their lives, their stories, their faces. Forensic facial reconstruction allows us to come face to face with our ancestors, to see them not as distant figures in history books, but as living, breathing individuals who laughed, loved, and experienced the world just as we do today. The process of forensic facial reconstruction is a delicate dance between science and art. It begins with a thorough examination of the skull, where every curve and crevice is meticulously measured and analyzed. The skull acts as a scaffold, providing the basic structure upon which the face is built. Scientists rely on established anatomical principles and tissue depth charts to determine the thickness of muscles and skin that once covered the bone. The sex and ancestry of the individual are determined based on specific features of the skull. For example, males tend to have more robust skulls with larger brow ridges, while females have smoother, more gracile features. Ancestry can be estimated based on characteristics like the shape of the nasal opening or the projection of the cheekbones. Once the basic structure is established, artists use clay or digital modeling software to layer on muscles, fat, and skin. They rely on their knowledge of human anatomy and facial morphology to create a lifelike representation. It's a meticulous process requiring both technical skill and artistic talent.
Perhaps the most famous example of forensic facial reconstruction is the case of King Tut, the boy king of ancient Egypt. His tomb, discovered in 1922, captivated the world with its treasures, but it was the reconstruction of Tut's face that truly brought him back to life. Using his mummified remains, scientists and artists were able to create a remarkably lifelike image of the young pharaoh. Another famous reconstruction is that of Richard III, the last Plantagenet King of England. His remains were discovered buried beneath a parking lot in Leicester in 2012. Forensic analysis confirmed his identity and revealed details about his life and death. A subsequent facial reconstruction showed a dignified, even handsome face, challenging the villainous image popularized by Shakespeare. These high-profile reconstructions capture the public imagination and demonstrate the power of this technology to connect us with history's most iconic figures. They allow us to see these figures not just as names in history books, but as real people with faces we can recognize.
While the reconstructions
of kings and pharaohs may grab headlines, it's the faces of everyday people that truly illuminate the past. Forensic reconstruction has been used to recreate the faces of people from all walks of life, from ancient farmers and artisans to medieval merchants and Viking warriors. These reconstructions offer a glimpse into the lives of ordinary people who lived centuries ago. They help us understand what they looked like, what they ate, and even what diseases they may have suffered from. They remind us that history is not just about kings and queens, but about the countless individuals who lived, loved, and left their mark on the world. By putting faces to the names, we begin to see the humanity in history. We connect with their stories on a deeper level, recognizing that they were once just like us, with hopes, dreams, and fears. The process of forensic facial reconstruction is a complex one involving a multidisciplinary team of scientists, artists, and anthropologists. It begins with a detailed analysis of the skull, using techniques like three-dimensional scanning to create a digital model. This model acts as a virtual scaffold upon which the face is built. Tissue depth markers are then placed on the skull at specific anatomical landmarks. These markers indicate the average thickness of facial tissues for individuals of a particular ancestry, sex, and age. This information comes from extensive databases compiled over decades of research. Once the tissue depth markers are in place, artists use specialized software to digitally sculpt the muscles, fat, and skin onto the skull. They pay close attention to anatomical details and strive to create a lifelike representation, taking into account factors like age, ethnicity, and health.
Forensic facial reconstruction is more than just a scientific technique. It's a powerful tool for connecting with the past. By putting faces to the names, we breathe life into history, making it more tangible and relatable. We come to see our ancestors not as distant figures in textbooks, but as individuals who lived, loved, and experienced the world just as we do today. These reconstructions are a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit and our innate curiosity about those who came before us. They remind us that we are all part of a larger human story, one that stretches back through millennia. And as we gaze upon these faces from the past, we may just catch a glimpse of ourselves reflected back, reminding us of the threads that connect us all through time.